So can you build a Harley-Davidson CVO for less money than Harley can? Hit it. Hey guys, Salty Flyer, back with another video. Welcome. If it's your first time to the channel, thanks for joining us. If you're coming back, welcome back. Happy to have you. So I thought I'd do a little thought experiment this fine morning. The Harley-Davidson Motor Company's custom vehicle operations, which really is just premium vehicle operations, because you really don't get a whole lot of choice. You get to pick the color, that's about it. That's their top tier, their premium level. And I thought to myself, could we do better? Could we build it out? So I got my handy dandy notepad. Let's work through it just a little bit. So for starters, I'm going to do CVO Street Glide because I'm a Street Glide guy, but there's a CVO Road Glide as well. So we'll start for the price. A CVO Street Glide is $45,999. Okay, quick rules. We're just going to do everything is going to be no tax, no fees or anything else because that changes state to state. So we're just going to play along like that doesn't exist. Now, if you want the most premium 2025 paint color, which is the blue streak, which I will admit looks pretty dope, that's another $5 grand. So now you're at $51,000 for that motorcycle. That's a lot. If you want to go with just the baseline as your canvas to paint on, the baseline Street Glide in chrome trim and primer, I mean billiard gray. Come on, Harley, just bring back vivid black as the base color. Nobody likes the primer gray. That will come in at $27,749. So we'll round that to $28,000 to make maths easy. So that means our budget for our mythical custom bike we're going to build is $23,000, obviously after purchasing the bike. Which, by the way, is $4 grand less than buying a second bike. Good Lord. Okay, so what do you get in a CVO? Well, in the 25 CVOs for the Street Glide, you get the 121 motor, so an upgrade from the 117 stock motor you get in the Street Glide, with the variable valve timing, VVT, which gives you some pretty good power, some pretty good torque, some pretty good performance. You're going to get exhaust custom upgraded. You're going to get upgraded seat. You're going to get the full stereo, so the full 4 speakers, bags, everything stereo upgraded to I think they're stage 3 level for Harley. Nav, okay, fine, whatever. Nav's turned on. It's like $300. And you get all the doodads. So you get the grips, heated, the whole package. I think it's the adversary package. So floorboards, shift pegs, passenger footboards, etc. So that's what you get. And you get paint. Now, I'm not a hater on Harley paint. They actually, as far as automotive paints and things go, having seen a little bit of it, they do a decent job. Even their baseline paint is pretty good. Their CVO paint is outstanding, typically. It's well put together. It's usually a lot of metal flake, a lot of pearl, a lot of different graphics on there, 2-tone, 3-tone, etc. It's really cool looking. So you get that. So that's where we're at. So how do we do that in our own bike? Well, let's start. First things first, we're going to get the power. So we're going to go right to the Harley Screamin Eagle parts catalog, and we're going to buy the 135 crate engine, because why the hell not? It's a big old honka motor, and you can get it. So you can get that for the grand total of $8,100. That's a motor and a crate. Now, be honest with yourself. If you're a wrench or you're a tech or something, and you can do a full engine swap in your garage, and you have the tools and the lift and the capability, much blessings on you, man. I can't do that. So I'm going to have to take it to the dealer and have them do it. So randomly off topic, just a couple of buddies of mine actually got that quoted. Your dealers will vary. I think there's a book that tells them exactly how many hours they're supposed to bill for a job. Harley, if you have any techs in the audience, please comment below if I'm talking out my ass here. But I heard 12 hours is the labor rate for an engine swap. So what does that put you at? Well, my dealership, it's $175 an hour. Times 12 hours, public school math, is about $2,100 for the install. So you're figuring you're about $1,100 for the install. You can't put the stock intake on, so you got to do tune and an intake as well. So you're about another $1,000 there. So you're about $12,000 all in on just a power plant upgrade. Yeesh, that's pretty expensive. Cool. So now you're down to, of your $23,000 starting budget, once again, public school math, you're down to $11,000 left. Okay, not so bad. What else do we want to change? Well, we're probably going to throw $500 at a seat. Get you a good seat, Saddleman, LaPera, Mustang, whatever. Or one of the Harley seats if that's what you're into. You're going to change the seat because the seats suck on the stock bikes anyway. We'll call it $500 for that. Audio. Now, Harley sells the kit for $1,900. That's the stage 3, so 2 pairing speakers, 2 bag speakers, and the amp upgrade. Now, you're still going to have to do some work. You're going to have to cut your bags and cut your lids. Another several $100s, you can get pre-cut lids where the speakers will fit in there. Cool. Now we're looking at getting the accessories, right? You want to get the, we're not going to do bars because everyone's going to do bars, so that's like an even cost. But you want to do grips and floorboards and passenger footboards and shift pegs and brake levers and all that good stuff. We'll budget about $1,000 for that. And point, as I'm researching doing some of these on my bike, don't always assume that the Harley parts are the most expensive part. That's usually a safe assumption, but not always. I was looking, yeah, you can get some cheaper floorboards by far. You can get some Zero stuff. You can go to J&P Cycling, find a lot of different things for cheaper than the Harley parts. But then there's also some quality makers out there that you can go much further north of Harley. Like usually like Thrash and Supply footboards are really cool, Arlen Ness footboards, etc. You're looking at that point potentially more than the Harley part. But we're going to put $1,000 on that. It might be a little light, maybe not. So what does that leave us? After all that accessorizing, that leaves us with about $8,600 left for paint. Here's where it gets really interesting. You can go all over the world on paint. One, how much work you're willing to do versus how much work you want the shop to do will grossly affect the price. Also, what shop you want to work with. If there's a local paint shop in town, great. That will actually make this a lot easier. You went to a rally, say you went to Sturgis and you found a paint shop and they're 6 states away from you, but you really want to work with them because they're artists and everything else, that's going to add cost. That's really going to add cost. So what's the cost? Well, either you have to take the bike apart yourself, take all your tins off. So at this point, you're talking bags, fenders, side covers, tank, outer fairing. And let's be real, you're going to probably want to get the inner fairing painted to match because it's one of the things in the 24s that 25s that nobody likes is that kind of matte black inner fairing that doesn't match the bike. So yeah. That's a few hours of labor that either you're going to do, if you're comfortable and you know how to do it, or you're going to pay someone else to do. Now, if you're in local, you can just ride your bike in there if they're willing to do it, no problem. If you're working out of state, sorry man, you're just going to have to figure out how to do this or take it to an indie and have them take your bike apart. And then they're going to have to store your bike because you pretty much can't ride it home without a tank. So things to think about. As far as paint goes, kind of the world's your oyster. Like if you just want a color that doesn't exist in Harley's catalog, then it will be relatively inexpensive. I've seen paint as go for $1,500 to paint a $1,500, $2,000 to paint a bagger all day long, and that's just hey, I want a color that they don't sell. But when you start getting into really custom paints and you start getting into a lot of metal flake, or you get into pearl coats, or you want to get a lot of clear, or God help you, you want to get some art done, you want a guy to do some airbrushing on the tank, or you want some airbrushing on the fenders and some pinstriping, that can go north in a hurry. So could you do a custom paint job for $8,600? Yeah, I feel like if I had $8,600 to spend and I had some time to shop around, I feel like I could get a pretty good custom paint job on the bike. Okay, so where are we at? What's our conclusion? Well, the conclusion is, can you make a custom vehicle, a CVO, or UVO, a U vehicle operations, custom motorcycle for the same money that Harley does? I'm going to give you the standard Top Gun answer, if you know, you know, that it depends. But let's go through the pros and cons of do you want to? So CVO, here are the pros. It's turnkey, man. You go to give them money, you give them the money, they give you the motorcycle, you swallow hard once a month when you make that payment, and you have yourself a fine motorcycle, no muss, no fuss. The other piece is the work has been done in Milwaukee. You don't have to worry about it. Harley did it. It's all warranted, and if you're going to throw a few extra ducats down for an extended warranty, you're covered, man. No worries, okay? Easy day. What are the cons of the CVO method? These are leading into the pros of doing it yourself. It's not really custom. They picked everything. It's just premium, I guess. They won't tell you how many CVOs they make. I mean, other than the CVO RR, which is bozosphere money. But regular CVOs, they don't. The Department of Google has said that a good ballpark figure is anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 per color. So you figure there's 3 colorways available for the Street Glide. So you figure, you know, all in 4,500. But let's say your colorway, 1,500 folks. have that bike, that exact bike. And then if you're going to start throwing money at the problem to customize it on top of that, then kind of why'd you buy a CVO in the first place, right? The one other pro for CVO is there's a certain cachet. You get that CVO thing. It says CVO on the screen, CVO on the tank, and you can brag at your bike night that you have a CVO. It might get called a rub by some people for riding it, but hey, man, I have nothing but respect for my CVO brothers out there. Just not me. I'm a low self-esteem guy. Custom bike, you get a truly custom bike. You get your bike the way you want it, not the way Harley wanted it. So that's a huge win. I mean, you have total flexibility. If you don't want to use Harley parts for any of it, you could buy an SNS crate motor. You could do all Arlen Ness parts. You could do whatever you want. The world's your oyster. The paint will guaranteed be custom because you're picking it yourself. So I think that's an amazing option. Probably the biggest advantage to doing it yourself is the fact that you can spread the cost out. If you go buy a CVO, man, guess what? It's $51,000 and you got to start making payments that month. And there's no deferring the cost. If you decide that, hey, I'm going to do this engine job on my regular bike and that hurt a little bit. I'm going to take a couple of 6 months or a year off before I do anything else because I got to get my funds back up. You can do that if you're doing it yourself. It's a pay-as-you-go program and you can get off the ride at any time, which I think is a really huge advantage to doing it yourself. The other part of doing it yourself is it's kind of fun. I mean, shit, I started this whole channel just because I was a retired guy wrenching on a bike and being stupid. I just kind of figured it'd be fun to film it. I like doing videos and photography and stuff, so I figured I'd do that. What do? I mean, where I live in Western Washington, the weather sucks in the wintertime. If you get a day a week that you're willing to go ride, that's a lot. Most times it's 2 or 3 weeks between rides. What are you going to do? Just polish your CVO in the garage? No, it gives you something to do. It's a project. It's something to work on. You're always focused on the next thing. It's fun. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Can you do it? Sure. You can absolutely do it. Am I saying don't buy a CVO? Nah. If you want a CVO, man, and that scratches that itch, you go buy yourself a CVO because guess what? That's what you want. And we're America, man. That's what we're into. If you want to do it yourself, which I recommend, then that's the fun part. Stick with the channel. I'm going to try to keep progressing and let you know as I do this, go on this journey with my 24. Anyway, if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate you hanging with me for the time. If you could give me a thumbs up, that would be great. If you could subscribe, that would be super great with the algorithm and all, help grow my tiny little channel so we can do more fun stuff. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you in the next video. Get out, get riding, keep the shiny side up. This is Salty Flyer. Peace.